I genuinely believe that DJI is the best tech company in the world right now. Better than Apple, better than Google, and nobody gives them enough credit. Here's why. Okay, so everybody knows that DJI makes really good drones. That's their thing. They make their thing good. Lots of companies do that, but that's not the best part about DJI. They just started making other shit that's not drones, and everything they make is like the best in class. They don't miss with any of it. Like one day they just said, hey, we're gonna make microphones. And now the DJI mics are like the best prosumer mics you can get. These things are incredibly good from a company that makes drones. Or like, GoPro's doing pretty good. Let's make our own GoPro. Most people don't know about the Osmo Action 4. This thing is probably the closest competitor to the GoPro, and it's like pretty much the same price. This thing is incredible, and again, they're a drone company. Or like the Osmo Pocket, which is a whole new device class they just decided to invent and absolutely crushed it. Now, the fact that they can do all of those different things like best in class isn't even the crazy part. The crazy part is they crush the consumer space, but most people don't know that DJI also has a huge market share in like the industrial prosumer level. So they do this really well on cameras. They have a bunch of like really high class camera accessories that have a place on like Hollywood film sets. They have transmitters for like video. They have a bunch of like rigging gear. It's crazy. And again, this stuff is all best in class in an industrial space and consumer space. They do this for drones as well, which is less impressive because drones are their thing, but still they're crushing the consumer and industrial space all at one time and being really good at it. To me, it's just fascinating that a company could do one thing so good like drones and then come and just try new things and have every single new thing they try just be a hit and just absolutely crush it. I don't know what DJI is doing, but whatever they're doing, I want a piece of it because I love them. I love my little mics. I love my little drones. DJI is a cool company and I will never shut up about it. There was no purpose to this video other than for me just to fangirl. I'm not sponsored, but DJI, please sponsor me. Thanks for watching. So I almost never talk about or recommend Google Home, and I get a lot of questions on that. Now, there are 4 main reasons for this, and one of those reasons was recently validated with a pretty big event in the smart home world that happened about 2 days ago. I'm not trying to start any beef or drama here. Use whatever smart home environment works for you and makes you happy. These are just my thoughts. So let's start with my big issue with Google Home, and this is the thing that was just validated. So Google is one of my favorite companies overall because they're so rapidly innovative. But part of that rapid innovation that they do comes at the cost of them very regularly just kicking projects to the curb and stopping supporting them. Some popular examples of this are Google Stadia recently and Google Glass, but Google does this all the time with all sorts of projects. Now, I'm not saying Google Home is necessarily specifically under threat, but Google just has a tendency to do these things, and it's definitely a much higher risk of your smart home platform just being totally dissolved than with Apple HomeKit or Alexa, in my opinion. Now, here's the scary thing that validates this, and most people haven't heard about this. 2 days ago, Google decided that their Nest security system, which is a home security system that integrates with Google Home, it's based on the Nest ecosystem, they just decided that they don't want to support it anymore. And they entirely shut it down without notice or any options for support. Now, this is obviously such a small part of the Google ecosystem, but this again just shows their willingness to do this, and having there even be a chance of your whole smart home backend being totally shut off and you having to rebuild is not worth recommending it, in my opinion. This problem also trickles into some of my other issues with Google Home. Now, the second problem is a much more fundamental problem I have with Google Home, and that's every single command that you send through Google Home has to go through the Google server. This means if you input a voice command into your Google Home device, it will not send directly to your smart lock or your bulb. It has to send that request to the Google server, and then the Google server makes a request to turn that bulb on or off. This introduces 2 major problems. Really big one, and this is probably my personal #1 reason why I would never use it, is your smart home cannot work locally. With Apple Home, for example, all of your commands you put through your smart home, it doesn't need to call out any external servers to work. Your HomePod and the device you're inputting your commands will communicate directly with the devices. This is impossible with Google, so if your internet's down, if your internet's slow, you're gonna have and feel that in your smart home, and to me, that's just unacceptable. This constant needing to be online can also be seen as a security risk to some people, especially with devices as sensitive as smart home. A lot of people prefer those to be totally local, and again, that's just not possible with Google Home. Now, for reason #3, we get a little bit further into preferences. I personally don't believe that Google Home's automation platform is even nearly close to Apple HomeKit or Amazon Alexa. It's just lacking the ability to do more complex automation features, but again, this could be led up to something that's on preference. And lastly, I just don't think there's any USP. There's no unique selling point to it. Alexa does have some of these same problems as Google Home, but all of the devices are just super affordable, and pretty much everything's compatible with Alexa. Where Google Home, everything's expensive, the devices are expensive, and there's not as much compatibility, and you still have all these issues. And then when you look at Apple Home, sure, things are just as expensive, if not even a little bit more than Google. You're still getting much better solutions to literally everything else. Google, to me, just doesn't hang out in any of those departments. They're not really better at anything. The only thing that is a selling point to Google Home is I do generally believe their voice assistant is the best for not necessarily smart home related things, but if you're asking it questions, doing like blah, 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 hey Google, what's the answer to this, or when did this happen? Google's really good at responding to those things. Siri is awful. I don't really consider that smart home though. That's more the voice assistant side of things, but Google is much better at that. I will give it that. Like I said, not trying to start beef, just answering the question why I personally don't talk about Google Home and why I don't recommend it. I have trouble making tutorials and stuff on it because I just never use it because of those reasons. And again, do what makes you happy, do what works for you. It's not like an absolutely terrible platform. I just might be painting it in this way because this whole video is about all my negative opinions on it. But I don't think it's so bad that you should necessarily switch over everything if your full smart home is built on Google Home. I would just recommend if you're starting a new one, maybe don't choose Google Home as a starting point. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I'll catch you in the next video.